You're listening to Cash and Sass. I'm Lisa Marie, your go-to gal for all things money. As the Sassy Wealth Queen and the brains behind the Sassy Wealth Coach, I'm here to take you on a thrilling ride from the financial chaos to sassy and sexy money. Welcome back, my sassy friend, to another episode of Cash and Sass. I'm Lisa Marie, the Sassy Wealth Queen and the brains behind the Sassy Wealth Coach and, of course, this podcast. And today with me, I have Matthew Sercely, and he is an attorney and a tax advisor who had a huge breakthrough in his business once he got over his poverty mindset. He's a big believer in helping people with both practical advice and working on having a more useful mindset to truly succeed in their business. So, as we all know how this works, we're going to dive straight into those candid conversations. And I really want to focus on, what do you mean when you got over that poverty mindset? Explain, because some people have different views on what that actually is.
Yes, let me start with explaining what I mean by a poverty mindset. Poverty mindset is a mindset that gets in the way of self-improvement, gets in the way of building wealth and building success in life. And there are a lot of ways it can appear, but I truly believe that a lot of success is believing you should succeed, believing it's good to succeed. And so the primary way I see the poverty mindset is basically people just acting in a way where they're sabotaging themselves, or even not acting because they don't want to start acting. And it's an ongoing process. Like I have beaten the poverty mindset, and then it comes back in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months when I have a bad day, and I have to work on it again. Like you never get rid of it. Just you maximize it, or ideally minimize it in your life over time.
I am so glad you actually said that, because my sassy listeners know I say this all the time. Working on your scarcity mindset and that abundance mindset, poverty mindset, scarcity mindset, whatever, it's an ongoing process. I I like to say every new level brings a new devil, and it's because you're gonna have that. You're gonna have it show up, and having the tools to work through it and keep it, not keep it at bay, but acknowledge it and then say, I'm okay, I'm safe, we're going to keep doing this. What are some of the things that you've done to help you move through that poverty mindset?
So a big part of my getting through it is associating with other people who are also working on it, or have, again, not beaten it, but at least beaten it back. So I have been fortunate enough and frankly practical enough to get out of my comfort zone, to go meet other entrepreneurs, other business people, other people who are more successful than I am, and spend time with them. And one of the things that was really helpful was kind of seeing, and I don't mean to put this in an insulting way, but to see kind of how somewhat messed up some people's lives are even when they're successful. Like, so many successful people, you see the outward appearance and you assume, oh, everything must be put together. But as you get to know more and more successful people, you realize, okay, like,
They're human
this part of
too.
their life is working really well, and maybe this part of their life is working really well. But I've now been to their house, and their house is a mess, and their lawn is dead because they don't take care of it. Okay, they're not perfect. I don't have to be perfect to be good.
They're human. Yeah. We have
Exactly.
this false I don't know, false sense, I guess, that, the successful people, they're perfect in all the ways. And I'm going to be the first to tell you that if you come into my house, you're going to see it's very well lived in. And I don't always get to the things that I should get to, because, again, I'm human, I'm not perfect. And I think it's important to, uh, recognize, like you said, that when you meet some of these people and you think they've got it all wrapped together, just like a little bow, that a lot of times they're human. I mean, all the time they're human. And a lot of times, I promise, they don't have all their lives put together, because, again, life happens, and life doesn't care. Life doesn't care what you look like, who you are. When life happens, right? Um,
Hmm.
so I love the fact that you surround yourself, because to me that falls under one of my wealth codes that I created, which is energetic wealth. And energetic wealth is about surrounding yourself with the people that are high energy and above you so that they can lift you up and you can see what's possible. Whereas when we energetically put ourselves around people who don't want to improve or who always are in that negative scarcity mindset, it also affects our mindset. We're going to talk about the word that nobody wants to talk about, but we're going to bring it up. How does the scarcity mindset play into a business owner, especially when it comes around to taxes? Like preparing for those
So there
taxes and having the knowledge.
Yeah, so I see tax stuff can either be a cause or an effect. For some people, uh, taxes and the fear or worry and frankly the ignorance is an excuse to never get started in the first place. And one very common presentation of the poverty mindset is just never even starting the thing or starting the thing, but like from the beginning you say, "Oh, it's not going to work anyway." Like, well, then it's not. Um, but it also can be a result. If you started something and maybe it's kind of working, maybe it's not, but you have this mindset that I don't deserve to succeed, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, um, then it's very easy to sabotage yourself in different ways. Many of those ways are not doing things that you should be doing or doing things you shouldn't be doing. Like one aspect of the poverty mindset can be just spending too much money on stuff that's not important, especially early on in the business. Like you just opened up your business, you have 3 customers, you don't need a $10,000 web page. You need a web page, but not a super expensive one. Well, that can definitely factor into taxes and really the whole bookkeeping, accounting portion, um, where you don't keep track of things, you don't know your numbers, and then suddenly tax day comes around and you're not ready to do your taxes, so now you're late on your taxes, and maybe you file an extension, maybe you don't even do that because again, the poverty mindset's getting in the way, you're ashamed of it maybe. Um, and I frankly, I know several entrepreneurs who have not paid taxes in multiple years because they didn't do it one year and now they're kind of so into that shame cycle of the poverty mindset that they haven't filed taxes now in years. And again, like that sticking the head in the sand is a very, I think, classic way to present with the poverty mindset. It's
Yeah.
well, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to ignore this and hope somehow it goes away or gets better.
Yeah, because if I bury my head in the sand, then it doesn't exist. I have clients who come to me and or have that mindset, and I'm like, you do know that just because you have your head in the sand, that it's still there, right? Even though you got your head in the sand, it's still there. Um, One of the things I find is I think it's entrepreneurs get scared of what's involved and when it comes to the taxes and they think that I think they get in their heads and instead of talking to someone. And I think it's important to clearly say this, okay? One, we are not giving legal or tax advice, okay? This is a podcast. This is information procedures only. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there.
Thank
And
you.
if you need some advice and some help, please reach out. Um, there's plenty of them. Okay. You know, Matthew here, I'm sure will be able to help as well as others. And if you don't have someone, I have a list of them, including Matthew that are legally able to give you the advice and actually help point you in the right direction. And I want you to understand that it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't. It doesn't have to be scary. Um, you have to be smart, you have to be strategic, and I always suggest putting money up every time you get revenue into an account so you have money for estimated taxes. Because again, if you wait on the net, you won't have the money. I don't know how else to explain that. Because at the end of the month, it's like, oh, it's off the net. Okay, but how many times have you had any revenue left over, quote unquote, net wise, to put enough money for the taxes over? Majority of us can say none. Okay. So I think it's really important to understand that no, this may not be a fun money subject, and it's still an important one. Um, what are some things that people can do to prepare themselves so it's not so scary when it comes to uh, their mindset and having what they need to pay the taxes to have a business? Because as you know, it doesn't matter what country we're in. If we have a business and we're running a business and we're making money, we're going to pay taxes. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that is massively overlooked, that more people should do and should do faster is getting a bookkeeper. Just having somebody else to every single month go over everything, make sure everything's categorized really helps. And I say this kind of ironically, like I'm a tax guy, but I'm an attorney, I'm not a CPA. And I do people's taxes, but that's not the part I enjoy. I enjoy the planning. I enjoy what do we do now so that when you file next year, you pay less. I do the other stuff because I kind of have to, but that's not what I enjoy. And frankly, I'm a terrible bookkeeper. I was not good at keeping my own books. And that was one of my big breakthroughs is like, okay, I'm going to pay somebody else to do my books. And it's going to be, you know, a couple grand a year, but it's worth spending that money so I don't have to worry about it and I can be more productive. And frankly, so it will get done because I would sometimes go 2, 3, 4 months without reconciling my books. Um, so go get a get a bookkeeper, just somebody to manage things. Now, don't do this if your revenue is $500 a month.
No, because
Like,
because
go
I'm
make
gonna
more
tell
money
you,
before you do that.
bookkeepers are more than that. The cost of living has increased. um, and you're
Um,
right though that there are if you are just starting out, I will say this: there are spreadsheets that you can use. I even have templates. All you need to do is message me, and I can send you the email link. I have templates for people who are just starting out to be able to keep their numbers in order, and then it carry month to month, and it's all organized so that you can actually give it to your tax person. Um, with your and you know what's going on with your money, because I can't stress it enough how important it is to know what's going on with your money from the start, because if you don't keep up with it from the start, you get in the bad habit of not looking at it at all, and then by the time you are making money, you're not doing the things you should be doing, and you start burying your head in the sand, and that's what starts that hamster wheel, right? I mean, it's
it, and just like in like the household budget, it's really easy to have a $20 expense here, a $30 expense there. You don't think about it, but suddenly, if you do that every single week, that's $2,000, $3,000 a year. It adds up, and bookkeeping can really help you catch that. Also, especially unless you are just selling one product for one price, bookkeeping can be really helpful to keep track of, okay, where am I actually making money in my business? Like, I have worked with several clients who had 5, 6, 7, 8 things they sold, weren't doing any bookkeeping, weren't keeping track of things. And once we looked at like, what's your cost of acquiring a customer? What's your reasonable wage you need to pay yourself for the time of the work? And what are you charging for this? And it's like, okay, you are literally losing money in two of these areas. One of them that they had been doing for 18 months, losing money every time they did it because they weren't keeping track of their books. Another thing that I really recommend for people is again, like once you're profitable, and by profitable I mean like you're making 30, 40, $50,000 a year gross, you should not be doing your own taxes. Hire somebody else to do it. It is not worth your time. It is not worth you wasting hours or days of your time to do that. You can make more money, or you should be able to make more money working in your business and letting somebody else do it. But when you're looking for someone to do your taxes, don't start looking April 1st.
no.
Ideally, start looking in December, maybe even November. I know a lot of people, myself included, like I raise my rates depending on when you hire me. If you hire me in January, I charge more than if you hire me in December. I just do. And almost every CPA I know will give you 2024 pricing if you hire them in 2024. But if you hire them in 2025,
You're getting
they're going to
you're
charge
getting
more.
you're getting their new pricing. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and again, so even hiring somebody in January, there's plenty of time. But frankly, A lot of really good CPAs are not taking on clients after March because they're booked,
Oh, I know a lot
or
of
they are, but it's like,
right, I know a lot of them that don't take clients after, February 1st. They won't take on any new
yeah,
clients because they're already starting to get stuff for the clients they have.
well, and that's the thing. You may have forms that are due. In fact, you probably have forms that are due, 1099s to send out in January. So if you're waiting that long, you may have missed a deadline. And if you wait till after, like, there's another deadline in March 15th for some businesses. So, like, if you come to me March 1st and say, "Hey, I need to file my taxes," and I look at you and say, "There's a deadline on March 15th." Not just no, but hell no. Like, I just can't do that. Um, Now there are very good CPAs who will maybe take on a client, but it's going to be kind of like, okay, I'm looking at how busy I am. I can maybe fit one or two more in, and maybe not. So, like, don't assume that somebody's a hack just because they're not super busy in March. But realize that a lot of them, especially the ones who have been open for 10, 15, 20 years and have built up their practice. I mean, I have one friend. He's been a CPA for 12 years now. I think he's also an attorney. Um, he doesn't take clients in January. Like, if you don't hire him in December, he will not take you on as a client to do your taxes for that year. But again, this is something I just see. It's a huge waste of time. It's a huge stress for so many people, and I think it's just way, way, way simpler. Hire somebody to do it, and that's really there's so many things I think in business that it's like, if you're not good at it, pay somebody else to do it for you.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't work again when you're a brand new business person. You can't afford that. But once you're profitable, look at what your time is worth. Look at your options. And again, that to me was like the really big mindset shift I had, or one of them, in getting out of the poverty mindset, is like, I will spend money and I will make more back. I don't need to tightly hold on to every penny. It is an investment. Like, people are like, oh, invest in your business, and they think like, oh, buy training or buy, the tools you need, and those are good investments. But one of the best investments you can make is buying back your time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean,
And it doesn't I'm sorry to interrupt, but it doesn't have to be in your business. It could be hiring a housekeeper to clean up your
I was about to
house
say that.
so you have the time. I have a very good friend who frankly pays to have a cook do most of the cooking for him.
That is my
Like,
dream.
and 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 it's expensive, but he ran the numbers, and it's like, how much money am I spending? How much time am I spending? And, like, he still cooks for himself some of the time, but it's like, basically, I think it's like 5 dinners a week, or basically the other person cooks in their place, brings it in, he heats it up in the oven. And I mean, it's very expensive, but for him, it was actually a good business decision to spend that
Because
money
it
to do
gave him his
it.
time back, yeah. And the other thing I do is, for example, is investing back in your business. Your ROI is, like you were saying, is not gonna always be money. Your ROI is gonna be time. So, perfect example is my OBM. I pay good money for my OBM. Okay. She is a gem, and I will gladly pay her what I pay her every single month. Why? Because of the amount of time she saves me. Okay. She oversees my VA. I'll gladly pay my VA as well. Between her and my VA, I don't have to worry about my website. I don't have to worry about my blogs. I don't have to worry about anything with the social media stuff, or the website stuff, or any of that. My OBM helps me do the strategizing, lets the VA know, okay, this is what we're concentrating on. A lot of it is taken off of my hands. Okay. And I don't like Canva. Just putting that out there. They love it and they're great at it. They save me what will take me an hour to create, they can create in Canva in less than 10 minutes. Okay. So you have to look at, okay, I can do this. How long will it take me, and how much is that my time, versus paying someone else who's going to basically take that burden off of you. Same thing with my podcast team. I don't want to have to edit my videos. I don't want to have to do any of that. I don't. I don't want to do it. I don't want to learn. I have a podcast team that I gladly pay for them to do those things. And again, it's given me that time, right? The time back. And, a housekeeper, um, I have a friend who has 3 kids, and she felt guilty at first for hiring a nanny to come in, several days a week to help watch the children so she could work, and then she spent 'em. I was like, "Why? Are you able to focus and concentrate and get your work done in a shorter amount of time? Yes. Then are you able to then focus with your kids afterwards? Yes. Hire the nanny.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're being
It
interrupted consistently and are you getting anything done? No. Hire the nanny. I mean, again, it's a way of getting your time back and it's a way of investing in yourself and your business.
Yeah, and contractors in general are another great way to do this, even if you're not ready to hire an employee. I have one contractor who does all the creative stuff for me. So I do a lot of presentations and a lot of webinars. If I need a slide deck, I give her the outline, she gives me the slide deck. If I need a graphic for my webpage, I tell her what I want, she does it for me. Separately, I've got somebody who manages a lot of my website stuff. And it's really great actually. I just hired him a month ago. We're getting ready to move everything from one system to another system, and now I'm just going to say, "Go do it." I don't like I'm gonna check to make sure it's done correctly. Yeah, trust but verify. But like, it's going to save me literally probably 20 to 30 hours of work having him do it for
Mhm.
me, and he'll probably do it in 10 hours or less.
Right.
Um, you know, this year I also hired an assistant to help me to do bookkeeping because I was not offering bookkeeping services because I wasn't good at it. Well, that was a disservice to my clients who wanted an all-in-one shop. It was a disservice to my business because that is a profit center for any good accounting firm. But I knew I would not do a good job. I would hate my life if I did it. Well, I now have somebody working for me. Most months, it's 10 hours a month. She does more work for me in February, March, April because she also helps me do the tax returns. Um, Again, that was for me a big growth in getting rid of the poverty mindset. Like, this is not a one-off deal. I have a contract with her. If I don't give her enough work, I still have to pay her. But I knew I could generate the work, and usually I have more work than that to give her, and she's fine with that. But again, it's like I had to get to the point where it's like I'm signing on the dotted line. I'm going to owe money on this. That was a really scary thing to do, but it was okay. But do I know it? Do I know absolutely positively it's going to work out? No. Is there a really, really good chance this is going to make me more money, give me more time, make me more efficient, and just make my life better? I mean, basically guaranteed at least 2 or 3 of those I
Mhm.
was going to get. Like, even if it cost me money, if it gave me back time, it was gonna be a good deal, and then, as it turned out, it helped me make more money by being able to take on more clients this year than I would have been able to take.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I do. So, I have bookkeeping experience. I don't do the bookkeeping. I do the wealth coaching and CFO. However, I have a bookkeeper on staff like you're talking about. I have a contractor bookkeeper who helps me with those for the clients that want us to do it and do the CFO. So as a CFO wealth coach, I don't have to do the books. We don't have to do the books. We just require access to them. And I have some that are like, "No, I just want y'all to do them." And so it was like you're saying, it was a disservice not to offer that. And so it was something that we looked at and we did. And again, the whole point is to get your head out of the scarcity mindset, right? To where you're thinking, "Oh, I can't do this, or I can't do this, or this is never going to happen, so I shouldn't do this." Or get out of the scarcity mindset of burying your head in the sand and not knowing what's going on with your numbers and your money so that you can plan accordingly with the taxes and have everything prepared. Because I can tell you this, you come up with a shoebox full of receipts and all and bank statements and all, and I promise you they're going to charge you by the hour. Every single minute they're going to charge you more because they would have to go through all of that, and some of them send you back. So some of them won't even do it with the shoebox. So you don't want to show up disorganized. You want and it does you a disservice being disorganized because you don't know what's going on with your business. You don't know what's going on with your money. And when you know what's going on with your money, you can be empowered and you can move through that poverty and scarcity mindset, which I just it's not something that's easy, and it's not something that's is done overnight. Like Matthew was saying, it's something you continuously do. And one of the ways you can work through that is to put yourself around other people who are where you want to be, right? Who are having the success you want to be, and they're working through that mindset as well. You have a free offer for my listeners. Will you please tell them about that?
Yeah, so I have basically an ebook of a whole lot of things that are possible business deductions. It's basically just to get you thinking about things because, everybody knows you can write off certain things, but there's lots of things that you can write off that maybe you don't think about, or maybe some things you think you can write off that you can't. I do cover a few of those as well. So it's a book. I think it's 64 business write-offs. There's also a few personal write-offs in there that are not business write-offs, but you can write them off even without a business. You can get that. There's a page on my website, agoristaxadvice.com/sass. Agorist is a funny word, AGORIST, taxadvice.com/sass. And then that will also put you on my weekly email list. I try to send out 3 tax related things a month, and then usually one kind of more business thing a month just to get uh, people thinking about different things. I'll be honest, some of it's very high level, and you may look at that and go, that doesn't matter to me. I get the occasional complaint that it's too simple, but it's useful for somebody. I'm going to do it.
Very much so. And we will have that link in the show notes, everybody. So make sure you click on that. And I am going to say that I can pretty much guarantee that one of those things in there that is, well, let's see, it can be deducted on certain circumstances. But most of us cannot deduct it. And it's our nice clothes that we buy when we go on these trips that we think when we're going to a speaking event and we're buying an outfit that we can write it off as a business expense. And majority of us, I am sorry to tell you, can't. But I guarantee you that's
I I
probably one
I
of the things that's in that book.
I do cover that uniforms are deductible,
Thank you.
but clothing is
Right?
not.
People are like, "Oh, but I'm buying this just for this," and I'll pull it up and I'll go, "Read it. It says if you can wear it anywhere else for any other, it is not tax write-off." And the same thing with me getting my nails done. Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, me getting my nails done because I'm going to a speaking event and I'm going to be speaking is not a tax write-off. I wish it was, but it's not. um, and so there's things that we need. I say this and I mean this with all the love in the world. Use your common sense and understand that there are some things that you can't. And so I really highly recommend you look up get the free offer because I guarantee you there's probably something on there that you're not writing off that you actually can write off because there were some things that I didn't even know until my tax advisor told me I could do. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, and this is the reason why I have you. Yeah, because again, they keep up with those things, so it's just good to have that information. Matt,
And it is really scary. Like, even if you did a really good job looking into this 5 years ago, it's changed. I mean, everything with business meals is so
yep,
complicated, and it's changed 4 times
yep,
in the last 6 years.
yep,
Like, that one area.
yeah.
And it's like, the other thing is you said use your common sense, but when it comes to taxes, sometimes don't use your common sense
No, get
because some
someone to
parts of the
help you.
tax code are just crazy.
Yes. It's the reason why I got out of the taxes to begin with. Yes, and meals alone is enough reason for me not to deal with it because again, it used to be 50%, then it was 100%, now it's 50%, but there's caveats in all of that that makes it whether or not it's true meal or if it's something else and again, that's like going down a rabbit hole, and we're not going to do that. My best advice I can tell you is talk to someone who knows their shit. And that's a tax attorney, a CPA, an enrolled agent who knows their stuff with the taxes. Okay, they're going to be the ones that can tell you what you can and you can't do, and they'll be able to explain why.
And I think that's the biggest thing. And don't Google it, for the Lord, just don't Google it, okay? Go talk to someone who actually has the education and who stays up on the education, because like Matthew said, the tax codes, they change. And just when you think you've got them figured out, they change again, right?
The don't Google it and don't watch YouTube
Oh, good
videos,
God.
especially, is one of the biggest problems one of my clients had last year, in that they found something that was published in 2018, and it was accurate in 2018.
Not accurate
It had
anymore.
not been accurate since 2021, and it was literally about a $15,000 difference in what they owed, and we had to go back and amend the previous returns. Well, we didn't have to, we chose to. And that was then interest on top of that. So it was like a $50,000 plus mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ignorance is expensive.
Very much so. It's better to pay someone and have someone help you make sure it's done right. Okay. Thank you very much, Matthew, for being here. I truly appreciate it. My sassy friend, I know this is probably not one of the podcasts and episodes you wanted to talk, and it's still important. It's still candid conversations about money, because believe it or not, these things affect you. They will affect your personal life, they will affect your business life. And like you said, ignorance, they can be costly mistakes with burying your head in the sand. So, no more burying your head in the sand. And remember, until next time, stay sassy. Bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on Cash and Sass. Check us out on social media and on our website at www.thesassywealthcoach.com, where you can download my free Money Story Start Guide. The website again is www.thesassywealthcoach.com. And as always, subscribe to the show to catch every new episode, and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you fresh content. And remember, yes, it is possible to have sassy and sexy money. See you next week.